Take care when working on pre-charged air guns. High pressure air can be very dangerous. Make sure the cylinder is completely empty before you attempt to work on it. Warning: there is a legal limit of 12 foot-pounds for air rifles in the UK. It is illegal to tune or set an air rifle over this limit. The limit for air pistols is 6 foot-pounds. Watch through the video first before you attempt to dismantle the gun. If you feel it is too hard for you, then let a competent gunsmith do it for you. No responsibility can be taken by the author, video maker for any work carried out. Needless to say that any work carried out by individuals will void any current guarantee. We're now going to modify and tune the stealth air rifle. We'll start by removing the bottle. Just place the bottle to one side. You need a 5/32 Allen key, which you place in the base like this and unscrew it. When you've undone that, it will pull off. Place that to one side. We'll now remove the 4-end grip here. We'll remove the trigger guard with a 1/8 Allen key. Place that to one side. Now to remove this unit here, you can pull this out, safety catch. You've got to knock out this pin. This is what retains the pistol grip. So we'll get a punch and knock this pin out. You knock this pin out from left to right, and you can see it's got a spline on the right hand side of the pin. And this comes apart like that. If you look at this here, you can see the thin wire spring is at the front in that slot there, and the shorter dumpier one goes in that groove there, just behind the pin. So I'll remove those two springs. This gives you access to the underside of these screws here. If you wish to just remove the barrel, you unscrew this cap at the front, and with a 3/32 Allen key, remove the small grub screw at the front there. That allows this plug to pull out. Then you remove this with a 3/32 again. And then this one. That's released the barrel. And the barrel will pull out along with the spring. A spacer and the hammer. So that is how that would go in the gun, like that. Right. They can pull off and be placed to one side. Remember which way round it goes. The cone shape is at the front. Hammer spring can come off like that. And these are spacers that pre-tension the hammer spring. If you're going to replace the barrel with a longer one, you have to push these out by using a drift like that, gripping this in a vise lightly so that can push through. Pull this off. This is just a cover. That'll give you access to the Allen key, which again is the 3/32. Just unscrew that. When this comes off, make sure you don't lose the little collar that goes between it and the locator. It's got a little bush with the lip facing upwards. How does that look?
That looks alright, that's good.
Right, we'll place that to one side, keeping that together. Right. To remove this collar at the back, you need the 3/32 Allen key again. Just unscrew that. And that screw's removed. It's a small grub screw. You can pull this collar out at the back, push it forward and out, and notice that the groove and the dimple is at the front, so you can put it back the right way round, because that's what your bottle locates on. This will now come out. Notice that the thread is at the front. So this is the front. Yeah. Get your assistant to hold the other end of the gun and then tap out from left to right that pin, and again you'll notice that the pin has got a spline on the right hand side, so you always knock it out from this side, left to right. You'll then be able to remove that lever, right, holding it up, and it will fall out. As you can see, it goes that way round, so the rear lever will go in that way. You probably won't need to remove any of these trigger units, but we'll show you just in case you have to renew anything. We'll now knock this pin out from left to right. We can now remove the middle sear. Which goes under the front sear, hooks under it like that. So we now remove the last one. To remove the front sear, again we'll remove it from left to right. And that's retained now by the spring that's held by the front pin. We'll just knock that out. And here you can see the way that goes. Here you can see the relationship of the sears in regard to the trigger for when you put it together. So we now replace it. Now we've seen how it all goes. You can see that. This small grub screw here is just for adjustment. If you can see that clear enough. This is just an adjuster for the trigger. Don't set the trigger too light or the gun might go off. Right, so I'll replace the pins from right to left this time. Right, we've magnetised this punch to hold the spring, just to locate it, so we can drop it down and place the pin through. Like so. We'll now hook it in we'll now hook in the second sear like that. We're going to have to hold this forward to replace the pin for this. Might use some pliers to hold it. Right, with some pliers holding it steady, can now replace that pin. Hook in the middle one from underneath and replace that pin. Place it on its side so it can line it up. When that's lined up, you push the pin in again. And then the last one. And now we'll tap them pins back. Now that it's all together. My assistant will hold the gun while I tap the pins back. Right, just punch the pins back flush. When they're flush, Can you see that? Just punch them all back flush. When they're all flush, now replace the cocking block from the rear with the threaded hole at the front. Replace this bush at the back with the locating at the front and the groove at the front. Then line it up from above. Line it up. Then put your small grub screw back with your 3/32 Allen key. Nip that up because that's what holds your bottle at the back. Don't over tighten it though because it's only aluminium. I'm now going to replace the actual trigger mechanism on the underside. Thin wire spring goes at the front and a slightly thicker wire one goes in that groove there at the back. You can see that there. Then we'll replace the trigger. Trigger's held like that. Has to go underneath that rear lever. Like that. And then replace the pin from right to left again. With the spline facing to the right. Just push the pin in. We'll now put it back on the wood and tap it flush. Make sure the springs don't fly out. When that's flush, we can now replace the safety catch with the rubber at the back. Make sure it locates in the little slot at the front now to operate that. We'll now get the trigger guard. Get your Allen screw when it's all levelled up. Replace the Allen screw. 1/8 Allen key. Just tighten it up and nip it up, making sure it's still level. Check that it operates freely. That seems okay. Here you can see the 2 spring dampers. This is to stop the spring from twanging, or reduce it at least. If you want to increase the power, you can add a piston weight and spring guide combined like that at the front. This will add more momentum to the hammer. The other thing you can do to increase the power is to put a longer barrel on. Like that. The standard barrel length is 12 inches. If you're going to change the barrel, You just have to drift these out from these locators, and when you replace them, make sure that they line up in the exact position. Replace the spacers at the back. There was 3 on this one, so we'll put the 3 spacers at the back like that. Pull them right to the back there. Right, we replaced the hammer with the chamfer facing the rear of the gun, and then the spacer. We've put the spring guide and piston weight at the back here. This is a combined weight and spring guide. This faces the rear of the gun, so we'll put the barrel in with the small end facing the rear. Place that on there like that. When you put it in the gun so far, you then line up the locating holes on the underside. Right, while you're holding it in line, replace it, the grub screw at the front. And then replace the rear one. Just nip them up. Now replace the cocking block from the rear with the threaded hole at the front. And screw in. And with the threaded hole at the front, put the collar on the bolt with the little, and then screw that into the threaded portion at the front and tighten up with your 3/32 Allen key. You can then check the mechanism to make sure that it still cocks. Right, when that's nipped up, you can then pull it forward. Right, to replace the pistol grip, you've got to put this little drum back in there with the thread facing downwards. You can see that. So we'll place it in sideways like that. Turn it so it's facing at about the right angle. Yeah. Now to fit the grip, place the 5/32 Allen key into the screw so it's held it tight, and then try and line it up with the drum. This is very fiddly. Can try and rotate the drum a little bit to line it up. That's it done up, just nip it up. With the plain portion facing the rear of the gun and the locator on the underside, replace the front locator. Get the small grub screw with a 3/32 Allen key. Can replace that. Maybe move it around a little bit as you put it to make sure it's located in the slot. Just nip it up. Then screw in the front muzzle cap and thread protector. Screw in the front muzzle cap and thread protector in the front. Oh. Replace the plastic cover on the bolt. push that on. It's now ready to cock. Safety on. That's it. Screw in the bottle and check that it fires. That's okay. Now replace the front grip. Goes in this. The front grip locates in this thread here. Get your countersunk Allen screw. Replace in there. Line it up. Maybe look down from above. And replace. With your 1/8 Allen key. Just nip that up. And then check it on the chronograph to make sure you've not exceeded 12 if it's not on ticket. Because if it's on ticket then they go good at about 18 to 21. Especially with a longer barrel. Like that. We've made an adjustable stop for this drill. We're going to drill the hole. It's clumsy. We're going to drill the hole 87 thou. And we'll set the depth to about 1/2 inch. Lock it there. We just want to go into the valve head just enough to clear the hole out, and then we'll use that to drill in there. To prevent going in too deep than this. Start with the smallest drill you can and gradually increase it till you get your desired power that you need. We've found that this 87 thou is quite a good compromise and still gives you quite a lot of shots. We've now drilled it out. As you can see, when you're drilling it will go in so far, then you'll feel it break through the wall because there's a larger hole from the inside. So just make sure you don't drill too deep and touch the valve. You only need to go in about 1/2 inch or just over.